high unemployment affect entire family units or households. The government does not, for example, consider teachers and nurses to be parents, guardians, nurturers, breadwinners, or caregivers. The government views them only as single individuals, political activists, and as employees. The opposition sees families as critical to the development of Guyana. We as the next government reject this mentality of the PPP and intend to reverse the approach. We are therefore using today's observance to recommit to conceptualizing, designing, and implementing a national family policy. Such a policy must address the conditions involved in the creation of families, how their basic needs are met, how children and elderly family members are cared for, how to guarantee their health, economic security, and their general happiness. In this year's International Day of Families, therefore, we pay homage to our Guyanese family in our conviction that the family constitutes the basic unit of society and therefore warrants special attention and comprehensive protection and support. PPP's belated student debt relief demonstrates its half-hearted approach to the University of Guyana and university students and graduates. After years of empty rhetoric, the PPP government this week announced its so-called plan to make the University of Guyana free. The plan is as flimsy and as flimsy and stingy as it is thoughtless. Not surprisingly, it was widely criticized by thousands of young people, current UG students and graduates. The plan comes nowhere near to making university education free. It ignores those who are currently in the system and who are paying cash or using loans. Its focus on debt write-off will have limited impact as many graduates have migrated or have not commenced loan repayment. The touted projected 12 billion cost is therefore pure fantasy and an attempt to mislead the nation. Under enormous pressure from the opposition and the students and youth community, the government has reluctantly walked back one or two elements from the initial announcement. But nothing can save the PPP stingy scheme. Young people in Ghana have already and correctly drawn their conclusions. While we continue to press for a more comprehensive plan for the university and its students, we would like to use this opportunity to highlight the differences between the PPP's approach and ours. Ghana is in a desperate need of higher education and skills training because historically, the share of our population possessing vital qualifications has been limited. Development of the oil industry and its potential impact on the wider economy have only made this need more acute. And so we believe that we must maximize access to education for all Guyanese, while also improving its quality and the range of courses and skills on offer. We must therefore incentivize study and training while investing in our learning institutions. To this end, rather than the flimsy, ill-advised debt relief government has on offer, we believe the University of Ghana must be made a tuition-free university immediately. The University of Guyana's government allocation must be increased by several billions of dollars, bearing in mind the institution's plans for expansion. All graduates who paid in cash or partially repaid their student loans must be reimbursed with a minimum of conditions. All students at the university, as well as any other institution of higher learning, should receive a monthly stipend of $50,000 a month, with priority given to those who are not employed. Over the years, we have consulted with a wide range of university students, representatives, teachers, and administrators to identify the policies that best meet the university's needs. Unlike the PPP, we do not believe in unilateral impositions which create disappointment, frustration, and discouragement. Our policies are intended to target as many Guyanese as possible and will drive our economy forward by building up our human capital. This is what Guyana needs to develop. And it is obvious that only the opposition is serious about guaranteeing a high standard of living and high quality of life. May I also state this? I have observed in the press that Barry Jack Deal says he's prepared to debate Marxism Leninism. I want to say to the press, I am disposed to debating him on Marxism Leninism anytime.
This time I'll open the floor for questions on the press statement. I will go with Ms. Williams, who is in studio.
Questions on the Congress. There has been some speculations that the Congress is being held so abruptly because you're losing grounds and your opponent, Mr. Ford, is making inroads in various, such as the diaspora. Could you care to comment on this? And secondly, on the topic of Congress again, how does a party plan to integrate women and youths to play key roles in the upcoming Congress?
The first question to me is a non-question. I don't know the basis of what you're saying, and therefore I wouldn't be speculative in any fashion. Youth and women have always been integrated in this party. In fact, you will come into press conference. We have more young people addressing the press, engaging people in parliament than the People's Progressive Party. So youths have always been integrated in the party. And since they constitute the membership, they will be represented at the Congress.
I still didn't get an answer to my first question.
Well, I've given you an answer that it is based on speculations, and I don't become involved in speculations. Do you want to provide me with the...
I can give you an example. If you go on News Source article on your Facebook page, when they announce that the party will be holding Congress, there is a comment saying that.
So one comment, one swallow makes a summer.
I'm just give you an example.
I think we're wasting time here. It is speculative. There's no evidence of that. I can say to you that I have been working in this party and the Congress will determine.
Okay, great. I want to bring you back to a video from the 2014 Party Congress where you expressed frustration with the process. Can you tell me how this Congress will be transparent and credible? What steps is the party taking?
The party's Congress have always been transparent. That doesn't mean that they don't have problems. And we will continue to improve the transparency. The steps that we will take are internal to the party.
Okay. Since I have the mic, could you give me an update on the external audit that was planned for the CPUs?
I don't know about an external audit that was planned for the CPU. And I did say at that point, we are true, we have no problems with the CPU and we have moved forward.
Actually, at the press conference, Mr. Holder said that they will be sourcing external.
Yes, but I am saying to you that is a party internal matter.
Thank you.
Okay.
From the press statement. And Harris.
I would like to talk about motivation and success. A lot of it is threatening. An act of nature that left a lot of them with little or nothing. What can you do to situation of these people? I heard them talking about being asked to pay $250,000 for a plot of land. To pay that, and it is what is already.
The first things we will do is that recently in Parliament, in response to a member of Parliament, the government outlined what is a low-income land, and the money they are asking the people to pay away about where they have disclosed. So that will be raised to ask them to treat it as low income, because they said what the low income is, and it was way below 500,000. First thing, I know that we are mobilizing some resources for them, and that at least 2 persons have offered some, and I'm hoping to arrange transportation to get those things up there. And we have some things we want to do for them, because outside of of what we call on the government to do, it's a real terrible situation. And we think that Guyanese should meet out to them and help them as well. But the government has its obligation, which we call on them to ensure the honor.
Follow up. You said that these people were living in an area that they had cleared. They were off, and those lands have been given to some other people without compensation. Genuine, can that be justified by law?
Oh, these persons went, you would recall this thing is going on for a while, and the government pushed them off of the land. They had already cleared the land. Now, I could have understood if you said you cleared this land, okay, and that you didn't want to use it for housing. You said it was Nisil's land. It is true it is Nisil land. But if it is Nisil land and these people clear the land, and you're going to give it to some other people other than them, then you should compensate them for their labor, because they were in fact cleared the land. While I was there, you saw the work being done in whatever housing scheme they are put there, the contractors are working, etc. And so rather than the government should have really regularized, and as they claim to be interested in the people of Ghana, they could have given them grants to build houses, or do like we said we will do, build the houses for them, rent it to them, and let the rent pay for it over a period. But what they did is threaten them, they bulldozed some, they did all kinds of nonsense. And now you put them to the back, and they have got to now walk past all these houses that are now going up. Additionally, when they were in front, they had easy access to water and electricity, because right there it was. Now, when you put them to the back, they have no access. You not put in electricity. The pipes are already there for water. All they have to do is to connect it. They refuse to connect it. So, apart from compensation, the government needs to treat these people as poor Guyanese who need assistance, rather than people who they have to move so that the wealthy in the society can get the best of the lands in this country. And that is the contention.
Adam, what I would also say is what you're seeing really in housing policy across Guyana is that the government is totally out of touch. And of course, many of our policies have been drawn from the complaints and the comments that we've gotten from Guyanese across the spectrum, especially low-income Guyanese and younger Guyanese who've complained about access to land, who've complained about access to finance, and who've complained about really the spiraling costs that we've seen. It seems to me that the government is so focused on its view of development rather than being focused on those who are most in need, that it neglects a lot of things that should be done. I mean, one obvious one is that these residents needed to be provided with appropriate housing, appropriate facilities. But also, we've even seen Minister Rodriguez say that there are no barriers to access for finance in Guyana if you want to build and so on. Of course, the biggest barrier to access really in Guyana is the low wages that really we're faced with, the cost of living crisis that has eaten into disposable income and made it difficult for Guyanese to save and to be able to build their homes, and the government's persistent unwillingness to address these issues. And so really, as a result of the government having the wrong focus, as a result of them making statements like this, which totally seem not to understand or recognize this situation of the typical Guyanese, the average Guyanese, you've got policies which disregard people.
Adam, I should say this. With the amount of problems they have in this country with squatting and unregularized areas, the government should have long had a unit in the ministry with responsibility for regularizing and dealing with these issues, rather than approach that goes after people. And I go back to Mocha. They bulldozed the people in Mocha. And I invite you last week, I hope journalists went and see, right over the road from where they are, a fence is being put up in the same line that they said nothing can be put up, and they moved the people of Mocha from. So you see the vindictiveness in the government and this desire. We're now looking to see which one of their family, friends, and favorites can turn up there to occupy those lands. And that will be a story by itself.
Questions on the press statement?
Beyond the sir, beyond the theme of the Congress, what are some of the critical issues that will be discussed from a party's perspective at the Congress?
Well, from a party's perspective, the Congress reviews the state of the party. And that will be done, and every aspect of it will be dealt with. And then it will have the key national issues to deal with: oil and gas, the economy. All of those issues will have to be addressed in the Congress.
Adam Harris, I think you were about.
You already had, can I have a clarification, please? When was this decision made to have the Congress next month?
If you listen to the press statement, I said at last Wednesday, central executive of the party.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, for your information, last Wednesday at the central executive of the party, the executive agreed on 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Has the party already decided who will be the returning officer?
Yes, there is a name, but the party decided that they wouldn't move with that now. Unlike the false information that is out there that I am head of election, is bare garbage. The party has always had, all the years, an accreditation committee that deals with election, prepares everything, and then it is handed over to the returning officer when the one is identified. And I am not the person responsible for accreditation.
Professor, there was a lot of talk about the Congress being delayed and about the Constitution being breached and all of this. Has there been the date announced to Congress?
Well, not to me. I don't know of any to the party. But I won't say that there hasn't been any, because people have the tendency to speak to whoever they want to talk to. But as a party, we have had no negative reaction about the date to the Congress.
One of the other things, sir, obviously there has always been challenges to the leadership. We had a case in the last contest where everyone to support the winner no matter what. That turned out not to be the case. Changing, for example, Mr. Roysdale Ford went out there to challenge you, to announce his candidacy, sorry, not necessarily to challenge. Do you see his role in the party changing regardless of the outcome of the election?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by his role in the party. I don't think the outcome of the election will determine whether he's a member of parliament or not. He's a member of parliament. I don't think it will determine whether he's a member. He's already a member, so a change I would see is, he ran in the last election and he lost. And he didn't get on the executive. And as leader of the party, I have an option of co-opting members. And so I co-opted him as a member of the central executive. We will have to wait till the outcome of the elections to know which direction it will go.
Leaving it open, Mr. Norton, rather than saying now whether or not you will keep him in the central executive if he loses.
Because that's the people's decision and not mine. Even if he loses, I will have to consult with people, and it depends on how you lose and what is the party's perception. Remember, I'm not operating here as Aubrey Norton. I'm operating as leader of the party. What happens if party come and say, oh, they want him? Then I'm open. If they say they don't, then I'm open. I might even fight for him. You never know.
All right. 2 questions on any other matter.
Yes, one question on that, I think. Your members were in South Franklin doing a campaign, house to house visits and all of that, and they were followed by the police. I saw a letter addressed to the police commissioner, to the Minister of Home Affairs, questioning the presence of the police on that campaign. Has there been a response?
Not to my knowledge, but it isn't new. As leader of the opposition, I am in Pleasance where I live and walk down to the back to meet people, and before you know it, the police come in with camera and all kind of nonsense. We've made it clear that the police is now a political tool in the People's Progressive Party, and we're not surprised by the continuous misuse of the police. We will do our work in the communities, meet out to people, engage them, and mind you, when I say police here, I mean the leadership of the police, because the average policeman really don't want to do what they're asking them to do, but they are being forced to do it by those who claim to manage the police force, even though they're not qualified to manage it.
There is a California. The hierarchy for people in the party with access to the police force. Was he start to contact the Home Affairs Minister about this?
I have been in contact with the Home Affairs Minister recently, but representing Guyanese on matters. I did not raise with the Minister of Home Affairs. Don't forget, when the police followed me, the Ministry of Home Affairs had said that the commissioner had said they will have an investigation. There was never, one was never done, and I'm not into this thing of wasting time.
No other questions being put forward. I want to thank our media personnel for joining today's press, and of course our viewing audience on all of our social media platforms. Do have a wonderful
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data.